He was very, very funny, but also
hilarious.
And again, a bunch of you guys at Big Bang apparently are into the show.
We talk about it all the time. A lot of us listen to it on the way into work, and then we talk about it when we get there. Did you hear that? What were you listening to?
Your new movie, The Bronze, definitely is right up our audience's alley. And I don't want to give any away, but the opening, well, first of all, you just had a premiere, I'm guessing. How did it go over? How did it play with your family and friends and everybody else there?
Oh, it was so fun. We had the LA premiere last week. And that was great. The whole Big Bang cast came and supported, and they were all so awesome. And then last night we had the New York premiere, and my parents came for the first time, saw it, and it was definitely an intense experience watching this movie next to my mom and dad. They had been forewarned. I called them after Sundance, and a lot of the press out of Sundance was all about the sex scene. And I knew they just read everything. So I knew they heard every interview, and they're like, oh, gosh, my daughter's doing porn. What happened? And so I called them from the airport at Sundance. I was like, I'm sorry. I know all you're doing is reading about this sex scene. Mom was like, no, this is great. Sex sells.
That's an awesome attitude.
Really great. My parents are pretty
fantastic. What did they say after they saw it?
So after they saw it last night, I think they were overcompensating a bit because they knew all eyes were on them. So it was like extreme laughter, like almost a little too much as they were. There's a big gymnastic sex scene in the movie.
How long is that scene, by the way?
It's I don't know the exact time on it, but I think it's at least a minute long. And there's actually an extended version of it as well. We only had 22 days to shoot this movie, but we shot that scene. It was a full half day that we had to shoot that. It was pretty intense, but they loved it. My parents were really great. They were good sports.
And your character is like, I guess, the Kerry Strug sort of, when she comes back and then realizes that, I mean, you're angry to say the least, the way you treat your dad, the way, you sort of come around later in the movie. But I wonder, it's like seeing Dominic Dawes and like some other former gymnasts that were in there. Were you a gymnast? Because you co-wrote the movie, if I'm not mistaken.
I did, yes. I was not a gymnast. I did take some gymnastics lessons for this movie at a gym in LA, and the coach that I took lessons with, she was this Russian woman who was very confused by why I was starting gymnastics lessons at this late in life. So I went in, I told her it was for a movie, but she was just very, very annoyed with how bad I was and how much I needed to learn. So she just started saying things like, you're not good, you should just give up. Why are you doing this? It's so bad. And I was like, are you talking about me being an actor or a gymnast? She's like, I don't care, both. You're terrible. Just give up. It's all so bad.
One of the things I read, and you spoke about this in an interview, but it must have been great for you. Your wardrobe for the entire movie is basically just a warm-up suit. It looks so comfortable.
Yeah, it was the most comfortable costume I've ever had in my entire life. It was, just elastic waist, pants, and an oversized...
Yeah, you were in Al Sharpton's outfit, basically. That's all he wears.
Exactly. I got it at the House of Sharpton.
Well, we're glad you're here. We're going to talk all things Howard, of course, and we highly recommend you go see The Bronze. It's very funny. You're really going to enjoy it.
Thank you.
One of the people that was on this week, you heard it this morning, actually hear it, I think, right after we finish, is Sally Field, who came in and had a long conversation with Howard. And Gary, one of the many takeaways from it was how much she hates The Flying Nun. And I sort of get it, because at the time, she was typecast. You play The Flying Nun for 3 years, and then she can't get auditions. No one thinks she's a serious... They think she's a serious actress, but they also think she's kind of a joke. Meanwhile, look what she ended up doing. I mean, she made that transition to Sybil, and then to a couple Oscars. She does comedy great. She does drama great. But hearing her just to sit down with Howard Gar and talk about all that stuff was just really fun to hear.
Yeah, but she put that Flying Nun thing more in context. It wasn't just that it was silly. She was sort of, because when she really explained it, it made much more sense. She sort of described the time, the Vietnam War is going on. Her peers are all protesting, and she wants to be like her peers. So instead of being like, politically astute, she's in a fucking Flying Nun's outfit. And so that's where she said, that's where she felt she hated it. And then she said she didn't think it really, it really challenged her as an actress. And she started going to Lee Strasberg at night, and that's what saved her.
So, Melissa, I wonder, with Bernadette, do people expect you to be Bernadette because you're so great at that character, and people sort of know you from Big Bang Theory? Because when they see this movie, this is not Bernadette, clearly playing this role.
Yeah, they think I have the Bernadette voice for sure. I don't know if they're disappointed or relieved when they hear that I don't. But I love Big Bang so much, and it's a dream job, and I love the writing and the character so much. But this was definitely, I mean, I think if this role was written by someone else, I wouldn't have had the chance to play the part. I mean, even still, even when we wrote the script and we're sending it out, there were producers who we met with who said that they really liked the script, but they wanted to cast someone else in the role. So that was a fight, even though it was something I created for myself. So it's an uphill battle.
I have a question for you, Melissa, because we have so many people who come on our show that have been through this. So you're on a hit series, like you're on the hit series, and it's been on for a long time, and you guys seem to be a pretty tight group. We have so many people on who walk away from that. In fact, in a couple of weeks, we have one of Chuck's other big show people on. We have John Cryer on, who was part of a show where the lead walked away. Do you ever go to work and you're a major character on the show, but if like two people decide they want to walk away, it could fuck up the whole show?
Yeah, I mean, luckily, knock on wood, I feel like everyone on Big Bang is totally on board to be there for as long as they'll have us. I think we all know how fortunate we are to be on that show, and we're such a tight family there, and we just all love it so much. So I hope that is not the case at any point, but I think we'd all stay on for 100 more seasons if we could.
The other great thing that show does, Gary, and of course Melissa, it incorporates new characters so well. Yeah. Like at first it was the guys and Kaylee, and now you're there. I mean, Mayim's there. So many other people have joined the cast, and people are embracing them versus like, wait a minute, what are you doing? Like, you're taking away from the four guys, and that's what we want to hear.
John, you're saying there's no Cousin Oliver for us older fans?
Yes, Cousin Oliver has not appeared on The Big Bang Theory as of yet.
Yeah, it could have. I could have been the Cousin Oliver. It could have been bad. I mean, I was a fan of the show before I joined the cast, and that was a concern, honestly, when they were adding me. I'm so grateful that they did it in such an organic, wonderful way, because it would have sucked real hard if I was the one who like just screwed up that show. And they're like, that Roush came on and tanked it.
Now, were you a one-shot deal, or did you know that were you signed all the way through?
Yeah, I was just supposed to be a one-time guest star, and I was at the unemployment office the week before, and I was so thrilled to have gotten just that job on the show that week. And then they called and said it was going to be a couple more, and then when I found out that it was going to be a regular thing, it was a dream come true.
Well, you're fantastic on the show.
Thank you.
Matt in Boston, you're on the Howard Stern Wrap-Up Show with John, Gary Rasan, and Melissa Roush.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good, Matt. What's on your mind?
Not much. When I turned on the radio, I was running late on whatever day it was, Monday or Tuesday. I thought it was Sally Field's voice, and I was giddy with excitement. I love her. I'm dying to know what she's like in real, like off the air. If she's as nice and personable as she appears to be.
Yeah, I'd say she's about what you see is what you get. She was very nice in the green room. She was real. The interesting thing is when the show ended, I found this really fascinating. We were playing She's Always a Woman by Billy Joel and Pink from the special, and she was like, where is this from? I got to get this version. I love this song. I love Billy Joel. But she just could not have been nicer. I mean, just really, really nice.
Thanks for calling in, Matt. Another guest we had this week, of course, was Chris Martin, who brought the piano, sang a couple of Coldplay songs, did a cover. I thought he was really good. But the one thing I took away from this was he talked about how being out there in front of tens of hundreds of thousands of people and performing, and sort of the high and the adulation you get from that, then you go home and it's just not the same. And it's a tough thing, I guess, he said, for him to manage, because you kind of get off on that sort of adrenaline rush. I mean, what do you think of that in terms of, because I know you perform other stuff live, like I've heard you on CBB and other things. So like when you're on stage, or even when you're on the air and you kind of get that, adulation, and then you go home and it's like, hey, what's going on, And again, everyone's got a different relationship, but I wondered how you handle something like that, because you're not going to get screaming crowds at Wembley when you come home every day,
Right. I mean, I only experienced it on a very small scale when I used to do stand-up here in New York, and there were nights where I would go on stage for one set, and if I didn't get the laughs I wanted, I'd go to like another club to try and like get another laugh, and it was like trying to get a fix of like more and more of a high from that. And in Big Bang too, it's great because we film in front of a live audience, and you have that adrenaline rush, and the energy in the audience on tape nights is magnetic. So I totally understand that. And of course I can't go home and tell my husband to cheer for me when I put dinner down on the table.
No, you could.
I could, and I actually might. I'm going to start doing it. I'm actually going to try it tonight.
No, the question I have more is like, you're on the set of The Big Bang Theory, big show. So, you guys probably have, a way better craft services table than most other shows. And you probably have a nicer dressing room and everything. And, you go to work and you get your ass kissed pretty well. Then you go home and, maybe you're not getting your ass kissed as much when you get home. You know what I mean? Does that happen? Is it just like, hey, Melissa, welcome home. Can you throw out the garbage?
Yeah, that's exactly how it goes. There's zero ass kissing in my household, and especially since my husband and I write together. There's we have this working relationship also where when I'm not at work, where we're writing together. So and also when we were actually shooting this movie, we were living like roommates because the budget for the movie was so small that we were just in separate bedrooms the entire time. So we'd come home from shooting and be like, yeah, good night, buddy. See you later. See you tomorrow. So that was the least amount of ass kissing possible because we were on set all day and, everyone was, really just rallying around and very excited about the movie. And then it was like, put your name on the milk, roomie.
Yeah. No, because Howard talks about when we worked on Private Parts, and I didn't work on it as much as he did. I just had a couple of days here and there, but he said it was intoxicating because they had this thing on the movie that he always talks about. It's called French hours. I guess it's when you go into overtime in order to kiss the ass of the crew. They have people walking around with like hors d'oeuvres and like hot towels. It's just this whole thing that you just automatically get when you go into overtime. And Howard's like, you could really start to believe that this is how life works, that people are always walking around handing you shit when you're on a movie set.
Yeah, why would you want to go home, right? I mean, if you get that.
Home's just overrated at that point.
But hopefully it helps ground you. I mean, that's kind of the whole point. But you said, when did you start doing stand-up, and how did it go when you first went out?
So I was always obsessed with comedy from a young age. I was at like 7 or 8 memorizing stand-up sets that I shouldn't have been memorizing. They were like, there was a Whoopi Goldberg stand-up special that I had memorized, and it was a lot of F-bombs and a lot of her pointing to her crotch, and I went in and did it for show and tell. And the teacher ended up calling my parents and very, very upset because I was a weird, shy kid who didn't talk much. And then I was going in.
And then you come out with Whoopi's,
exactly,
fuck this, fuck that.
Totally.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a very weird childhood. My parents were very supportive, which is why they were great sitting next to me while I was masturbating on screen. And,
by the way, that opens the movie. The jerking off scene opens the movie.
I'm sorry?
I said the jerking off scene opens the movie, which I think is the crazy. Like, if you want to know what the movie's about, it's in the first 30 seconds. It will tell you.
That is true. I go for it. I do rub one out in the first 30 seconds. So then I started really doing stand-up years later when I moved to New York for college. So I started around 19 and did it for years. And it was great. I mean, I started off just as one of those comics in Times Square who are handing out flyers saying, come see comedy to get stage time, and did in laundromats and like backup hamburger restaurants, wherever anyone would put me up. But then I did it for about 10 years or so and traveled around doing colleges.
I want to go back to one thing you said earlier because I'm always fascinated by this. You said that before you got the first show on The Big Bang Theory, you were on the unemployment line.
Yeah.
So, like, how long were you going to go to the unemployment line before you said, maybe I got to do something else?
I think I was very lucky that I had parents who were very supportive and never pulled the, like, when are you going to give up on this dream? I had people around me saying that. But I think I had this thought in the back of my head of, I know this is the only thing that makes me happy. So if I don't do this, and honestly, I really don't have any other skills, so I don't know what else I would do. So it was really that, and I was waiting tables at the time. And writing has always been something that I've loved to do because it makes you feel like you have some sort of control in this business where you have zero control whatsoever. But those were some hard times. I had been like, right before that, I had been on a Lifetime show that I was fired off of. Like,
why?
I think
Why
it was just a month before I got Big Bang. So had I not been fired off of that, I never would have gotten Big Bang, actually.
Why'd you get fired from the Lifetime show?
It was a show where they were absolutely right to fire me. It was the Sherry Shepherd pilot. She wrote this great show, and I was cast as her tough Italian friend who, like, everything was like, hey, I'm gonna beat you up. I'm gonna put you in my Uncle Vinny's truck, and I'm gonna take you out to the farm. I mean, it was really, I was basically doing like a bad Andrew Dice Clay impression. And I couldn't believe I got it. I had this like weird brown wig on that I went into the audition with, and I was just totally miscast. And I had about 2 days there on set, and I said to my husband, I was like, if they don't fire me, they're crazy. I am so bad at this. I was doing like, hey, oh, showery. what are you talking about, Sherry? And then, so I got home one day after I had said they need to fire me, and I actually saw the girl that I screen tested with coming into the wardrobe room as I was leaving. And I was like, oh, that's weird. What's she doing here? I remember her from the screen test. And she was 100% right for the role. And by the time I got home that day, I had a call saying, sorry, they're letting you go. And I was like, well, they're smart. They're 100% right to let me go. But then I cried in my car and in a Trader Joe's parking lot. And then I was on unemployment. I like how he said the unemployment line, like I was living in the Depression waiting for potatoes or something.
Little did you know what it would lead to, of course. And now.
And I mean, it was a real blessing that I ended up getting fired from that.
That story is 100 times better because it was the Sherry Shepherd show. That's all I'm saying.
I like that she's doing dice on the Lifetime Sherry Shepherd show. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll have more with Melissa Rauch, who, of course, stars in The Bronze, which is playing at theaters all over. When we come back, we'll talk about Won't Be at the Nursing Home, Vocal Fry, Howard watching The Bachelor. Take some more of your calls. Howard Stern Wrap-Up Show, Howard 100, Howard 1.
On the 11th floor, and I'm watching the cruisers below. Down on the street and just trying hard to boost the flow.
Hi, this is Katie Couric, and you're listening to The Wrap-Up Show with John Hine and Gary Delabate.
Welcome back to the Howard Stern Wrap-Up Show, 888-STERN-100, 888-783-7610. John, Gary Rassan, and Melissa Rauch all here talking all things Howard. Melissa, this week, Howard talked a lot about The Bachelor because you know he's a huge fan.
Love that.
And particularly Vocal Fry. Since you're so great with voices, I wonder, is Howard odd in noticing the whole Vocal Fry thing, or do you catch it all the time?
I love that he notices it because it is very, very apparent in all Bachelor episodes. I'm a huge Bachelor fan. I have to say that because I was traveling this week, I'm actually behind. So I didn't see the finale.
We won't reveal the winner.
Thank you. Okay. I appreciate that. But yeah, Vocal Fry is very, very large and in charge on The Bachelor.
But wait a second, don't you, John? Do you not know people in your life who have Vocal Fry? Because I do.
Gary, I live on Long Island. Believe me, I know lots of people with Vocal Fry.
So I mean, it's a real thing.
Oh yeah, but it just seems to be more prevalent on it seems to really the last few years have kind of, and I think the Kardashians get credit for this, a couple others get credit for this, but I didn't notice it 10 years ago, but I have noticed it more and more. Maybe people think it's a path to being a successful actress. I don't know.
I think I should start doing it more. I mean, I'm from Jersey, which is the same as Long Island, and it's very big there. It's, a lot of that.
Yeah, it's so annoying. Steve in San Antonio, you're on the Howard Stern Wrap-Up Show with John, Gary, Rassan, and Melissa Rauch.
Hey, Melissa, it's great to talk to you. I've been a long-time fan of the show, and I noticed when you're talking normally, you have a deeper tone. Is it real easy to channel the higher pitch of Bernadette?
It is. My mother talks pretty much exactly like Bernadette, except with a New Jersey accent. So I decided when I went into audition for the part that Bernadette's a little bit like my mom. She's very sweet on the outside, but she's a little bit of boiling tea kettle on the inside. So I decided to model it after my mom. And it's actually easier to talk in the Bernadette register. If I'm ever losing my voice, it's actually easier to talk as Bernadette.
And Gary, there's so many distinctive voices on the show too. I mean, obviously not just you, but everyone from, Wallowwitz's mom, may she rest in peace, to Jim, of course. And really, you guys seem, and I've always heard this, to be having a really good time as you're making the show, which is very rare in Hollywood, correct? It's
so true. And, whenever I would hear from shows I've loved in the past, we're a family, I never fully believed it until I joined this cast. And they're the nicest group of people. When I came on, they thought I was just going to be there for the week. And they all welcomed me like I was going to be there forever. And for all they knew, they were never going to see me again. And they're all just incredible people.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to be on set one day when they were doing the read-through. And the read-through is they just stand there with their scripts and they're just, sort of just going through the whole thing. It's almost like watching a play live. Yeah. And it was so cool to watch, but everybody's in a really good mood. But I always think that's also part of being on a hit show. Like when a baseball team, when everybody's winning, what is there to complain about?
That's true. Yeah, we'd be a bunch of douchebags if we were walking around miserable on that show. It's such a great environment, and everyone was so excited when Gary was there. When we found out that he was coming, everyone kind of flipped out.
I got to meet Chuck Lorre, which I later found out was the day that he was shooting the last episode of 2.5 Men. So it was very interesting.
Oh, wow. Well, Gary's very loved there.
Gary, did you let Kaylee know about JD's feelings for her, or did you keep that to yourself?
I saw Kaylee. We made eye contact, but I didn't get to talk to her. And I wanted to talk to Roger's girlfriend because I think she's really pretty. But mostly, I just kept in my little area.
So Melissa, do you think JD maybe has a shot with Kaylee?
I mean, I'll put
She's single again, right?
I'm sorry?
Is she single again?
Yes. Yes, she
okay.
is.
But JD's not. Too bad.
Oh. All right. Well, I'll put in a good word. She's awesome. She's such a great girl.
You talk about a cast being like a family. Mm-hmm. Gary, this place is like a family, except it's completely dysfunctional.
Well, this is imagine if the cast of The Big Bang Theory had the show that they did after they taped their TV show, where they all got to goof on each other and talk shit about each other. Then that would be a different family.
That'd be great. I think the wrap-up Big Bang show.
Yeah, Melissa, it'd be really great until Simon told some story about you that wasn't as funny as he thought it was, and then it's not so great.
That's true. I'm sure. Yeah, I could listen to Simon tell stories and talk he is the funniest person I know. He's just hilarious
and great with voices too.
So great with voices.
Yeah,
his impressions are incredible.
JP, you're on the Howard Stern Wrap-Up Show.
Hey, Melissa, I saw the preview of the movie the other day. It looked awesome. Can't wait to see it. Second of all, I was fortunate enough to get some seats to come down April 26th and see the taping of the show, and I'm really looking forward to that as well. But I heard you guys serve pizza. How's the pizza?
The pizza's good. It's really good. First of all, thank you so much for your kind words, and I'm excited that I'll give you a wave on the taping that you come to. The pizza's good. Yes, they serve pizza halfway through the show. The pizza's so good, in fact, that the leftover pizza is put out on the table after for the cast and crew, and everyone enjoys some pizza after the show on occasion.
Now, hold on. You're from Jersey. We're talking L.A. pizza. Pizza? I mean,
no. It's not a Jersey pizza by any means. It's a good L.A. pizza, but... I mean, yeah, there's nothing like a Jersey or New York pizza. Yeah. I haven't been able to find it in LA, which kind of sucks.
Very important to qualify it there, I think.
100. Yes, I'm sorry. I actually should qualify. The pizza you get will be shit compared to an East Coast pizza.
All right, thanks for calling in, JP, and enjoy the taping. And Gary, were you aware that everyone was so excited to meet you at the Big Bang taping?
No, but I wish I would have talked to more people. I was just sort of laying low. By the way, I want to talk about L.A. pizza is such a terrible thing. I remember going there in the 80s, and I walked into a pizza place, and I said, I'd like a pie. And the guy said to me, pies are at the bakery down the block, because they don't call pizza pies out there. They call them pizzas, gourmet pizzas.
Yeah, don't and a lot of sign they have signs in pizza places that say we serve pizza by the slice, like it's a huge exciting thing. Like, what are you talking about? I can't just come in and say give me a slice.
In the movie, your character's from Ohio, and that's definitely a distinctive accent as well. Why Ohio? Why'd you choose Ohio? And it's funny, if you're not from there or you're not from the Midwest region, you may not be aware of the Ohio accent, but it's definitely a distinctive one.
Yeah, it's not all of Ohio, but the region that we set the movie in definitely has that accent. My college roommate was from that area, and she would say things like, I'm going to be absent from school. And so we knew we wanted to set the movie in Ohio because so many gymnasts come from that part of the country. And also we wanted to set it in a small town that would let her celebrity have a shelf life longer than she actually should have a shelf life. So, so then when we knew we were going to set it in that town, we decided to go with accents. And I was very excited when I arrived in town at the airport. The guy at the who greeted me there picked up my bag and was like, let me help you with that. Like, nice.
Gary, how was it for you seeing Olga Corbett once again?
What do you mean? Oh, that. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't know she was still around. It's funny. These people, they're huge when you're a kid and then they just sort of disappear. I said, there's the guy in the movie that's in the sex scene. To me, it's one of the funniest things, but he's got a tattoo above his junk. That's sort of the, what would you call it? The ribbon for the medal, as if his dick is the medal. And I just thought that's the greatest thing. Like, that would be such a great thing to do for like a Halloween outfit.
Thank you. We were very excited about that, and when we wrote in the script, and then the fact that we were able to execute it. I felt that our makeup artist on the movie was this very, very sweet, shy, timid Ohio woman who wouldn't ever curse. I spent the entire 22 days trying to get her to drop an F-bomb, and she would. wouldn't. And she was the one who had to apply this tattoo to Sebastian's junk. And when I told her that this was going to be her job, she said to me, she's like, so, will I just give it to him and he'll put it on himself? I was like, no. Like, I think we're going to need you to do it. And she was in the room with him with her face in his business for a good 2 hours. And she came out and her face was bright red. She's like, so, yeah, the tattoo is on. It's on. And it looks good. And she just like excused herself. It was a lot of stuttering, and Sebastian was just very sweet and very gentlemanly about it. But I think I scarred her for life.
Yeah, and Gary, the F-bombs are let loose in this movie, to say the least, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and it's definitely funny. You guys should definitely check it out. Matt in Ohio, you've got the last call on today's Howard Stern Wrap-Up Show.
Hey, now, Melissa, I was your location manager. How you doing?
Hi.
Hey.
How
Hey,
are
guys.
you? Oh my
I'm
gosh,
awesome.
it's so good to hear your voice.
Hey, in between the chair throwing and the yelling, Melissa is one of the sweetest people I've ever met, by far.
Thank you so
guys.
much. That's so nice to say. I'm glad you didn't come on here and tell everyone how horrible I was to you.
No, honestly, still in my career of 20-some years, you and American Splendor are the highlights of my career. So,
Wow. Thank you so much for saying that. That just made my day.
Wait, Melissa wasn't pulling like a Christian Bale or anything, or ordering anyone?
Honestly, I can't talk any shit about her. She is one of the sweetest people. Her and Winston and all the producers. It was a really fantastic experience. They just did a screening last week in Amherst, so I've seen the movie. It's very funny, very raunchy. Well done. As a location manager, you're often not on set watching what's happening, so it's kind of a pleasure to get to see your work on screen.
Oh, thank you. That is so nice of you. Thank you. And thank you for not telling everyone how I went around punching everyone in the dick.
Gary,
he brings up a point. When you're set a Big Bang Theory, you guys have been shooting the show for gazillion years. Nobody, it's not a late Friday night and somebody's just in a shit mood. Nobody ever pitches a fit. That doesn't happen.
It hasn't. Yeah, everyone's super professional. I honestly can say there's not really an ego amongst the group, and so everyone's just always in a good mood and just so happy to be there.
See, Gary, the beauty of here, that I don't know if beauty is the right word, but we always talk about is, people do get to air their grievances. Like if you're upset with somebody, you go on the air with Howard and you launch, and he loves it because he thrives on those sorts of feelings. And even though you're the executive producer of the show, you take quite a lot of heat, and get goofed on probably more than anybody else here. But I think it's healthy because you let it all out.
Yeah, I'm talking about more of like the big fucking stomp your feet, wah rants, which Howard, by the way, has plenty of off the air. My favorite thing is when Howard used to have to go in and record commercials when we were going on vacation for like 50 different affiliates. He would get these commercials and inevitably he would just go, what the fuck is this? I don't even know what the fuck this. Get rid of this shit. You would hear him tearing the paper up, and it was real. I would be in there and he would be like, because it was like the 40th commercial and he was irritated as shit.
All right, we got to wrap up this wrap-up show. On Sternthology, we'll preview another Whack History Weekend with Bill Maher doing Politically Incorrect with the Whack Pack, plus Brian May from 1993. Howard and the staff play Name That Tune TV themes, and in honor of St. Patty's Day, we'll see how many potatoes fit into Robin's bra. All that and more on Sternthology for your drive home on Howard 101. See Melissa Rauch in The Bronze, it's in theaters now. Be sure to check it out. Melissa, thanks so much for hanging with us.
Thank you so much. I can't tell you what it meant to be here, so thank you so much for having me.
We're thrilled to have you. Rasan, you got anything going out?
Nothing, man.
Gare, how about you?
I'm on my way to watch a Syracuse game.
All right. And I'm on my way to Barclays tonight to watch the Michigan Wolverines battle the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. So if I see you, come say hi unless you're a Notre Dame fan. For Melissa, Rasan, Gary, and myself, thanks for listening, guys. We're back Monday with a live Howard Stern Wrap-Up show on Howard 100 and Howard 101.